So, do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No. Definitely not.
So, do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
Who?
FDAMA 114?
No.
Do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No, we don't. No.
So, do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No.
Do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No.
So, do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No.
So, do you know what FDAMA 114 is?
I do not know.
What is it?
FDAMA 114?
Fud with an F?
F, yes.
Is it
no,
an
we do not
advertising
know. Well, they're not going to tell you.
So, do you guys know what FDAMA 114 is?
No.
So, do you know what FDAMA 114 is?
Pajama 114?
Yeah.
No.
Can you take a guess?
A clothing store.
So, do you know what FDAMA 114 is?
Actually, I do. FDAMA 114 refers to the Food and Drug Administration Modernization Act of 1997, Section 114. The FDA created Section 114 to give guidance to drug manufacturers to provide them some guidance with regards to the types of information that they could give and communicate to formulary decision makers in the managed market space. FDAMA 114 really frames up three basic ideas with regards to how messaging you can do to formulary decision makers is different when you're evaluating things like cost and value. The three areas that are really important, I actually have a graphic here. The three areas that are really important, first is that the information should not be considered to be false or misleading under the paragraph in the healthcare economic information if it directly relates to an indication approved under Section 505. This language is different than consistent with. Relates to gives a little flexibility with regards to the types of things that you can talk about with regards to cost outcomes. The second thing is the degree or rigor of data that is required to make claims under FDAMA 114. Competent and reliable data meets the hurdle required for FDAMA 114, and the reason is the FDA realized that most cost analyses in the pharma space are from claims data, and claims retrospective studies don't normally hit the hurdle with regards to proactive messaging for clinical claims in pharmaceutical messaging, but for formulary decision makers and cost conversations with regards to 114, it does. The third is that the FDAMA 114 allows you the ability to make direct comparisons. So absent a head-to-head trial in a clinical claims space, companies generally are not directed to or have the flexibility to talk about comparisons between two brands. FDAMA 114 gives you, from a cost perspective, the ability to talk about competitive products within a space and the cost impact of each of them. There are some guardrails and safe harbors that we think are really important with regards to FDAMA 114. The first is make sure the only clinical claims that are included in a FDAMA 114 piece are the ones that you're using to make the financial discussion or conversation around. In other words, the only things that you should talk about clinically in a 114 piece are things like the example I gave with regards to hospitalizations. Other things that don't directly relate to the cost conversation should not be included. The second thing is you need to clearly label and make sure that your pieces that are for FDAMA 114 intended for formulary decision makers are clearly labeled and targeted just to those folks. And then when people see them, they understand who the target audience is. And lastly, you need to be very clear with regards to training in your sales organization on who is allowed to have FDAMA 114 pieces and then which customers they're allowed to talk to them about. We do think that it's a very important conversation to have with regards to payers. Value is obviously very key to their decisions about formularies, which drugs they put on and which drugs they don't. But in order to do a robust and thorough cost conversation, FDAMA 114 is, in our opinion, must-have marketing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.